Pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. It is game day, week one in college football, and for the Southern University Jaguars, they're on the road against McNeese State. We'll have our analysis of that game, a preview of McNeese State and Southern University, and of course, we'll span the SWAC, give you the schedule for today's action, and we'll look at last Thursday's football games and the opening for some of the teams in the conference. But I guess menu looks like this. One guest, former Southern University quarterback, legend in these parts, Eric Randall, joins us in our number one. Also, what's trending, and we'll tackle this topic a little bit later in the show. Guarantee money games. What's your school's value? That's what's trending. Now, let's bring in the panel, introduce you to them one by one. They'll come in. That's Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network, Coach Vann Pettaway, representing Alabama A&M, and A.D. Willa Brown. You know him. The hardliner, as they say. Welcome, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to talk to the panel again. 2024 football season is here for most of college football. There was a week 0 last week, and then there were some Thursday games in the conference. We'll get into Southern University, and then we'll take a look at McNeese State. But opening statements, we'll put it that way. Charles, Coach Pettaway, and A.D. Willa Brown.
Well, for me, the season's off to a fast start. You got some Thursday night games. 3 of our played on Thursday night, and it wasn't pretty. And good thing we can get those things out of the way. We got the paycheck in the bank. But a lot of work to be done, I think, for all of our teams here. Braves, for Jackson State, and obviously UAPB. Not that we'd like to start this season, but a lot of football in front of us.
Right. And for me, after watching Arkansas and UAPB, I'm going to have to pray for my Bulldogs because that's their opening opponent for next year.
Oh, my.
And they go to Fayetteville. You
know, all money is not good money. Can you believe I'm saying that? I'm a believer in Reverend Ike. He says the lack of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
But guess what? We'll come back and talk about that guaranteed money games. What's your school's value? Hello, everyone in the HBCU family. Good morning to everyone. A.D. Willa Brown, boy, I tell you, I want to go after you, but I'm not just yet.
That's okay. But I think it went as it was expected to go. I don't think anybody had visions of grandeur in terms of the way things turned out. They turned out the way things were expected. I really think, and I'll be short with it, that 2 goals were accomplished through all the teams. Number one, they got the check, which was the major reason for the scheduling to begin with. But then number 2, and we can't put a discount on this fact, is that the kids got an opportunity to test themselves against a high level of competition.
Mm-hmm.
And bottom line, at the end of the day, when those NFL scouts come into your school and looking at your kids, the first tape that they grab is a tape of an FBS competition or a high-rated FCS competition. That's the first tape they're grabbing. They want to see how you do against the quote-unquote best of the best. And so, if you're worth a grain of salt, those are the kind of games that you want to play, that you want to get out there and show folk what you can or cannot do. Because that's what they're looking at, Carlos, plain and simple. They ain't looking at the Valley tape. Let's get this right. They're not. They're looking at the UAB tape, or they're looking at the Auburn tape, that sort of thing. They want to see what you do against the best of the best. So, like I said, some things were accomplished from that point of view. Just didn't come out the way that we planned for it to come out, and it wasn't going to come out that way to begin with. Hopefully, everybody got out of there with as few injuries as possible, and they're getting ready for the next week moving forward, seeing what we can do there.
Well, the only thing I would definitely be happy about, we got the paycheck in the bank and a line of credit. And the scouts look at how you do against, better, bigger competition. But guess what? They still not drafting them. Still not drafting them. And so they'll go in as a free agent, undrafted. But anyway, Will, I grant you that. The paycheck, they got the money. But I will also say this. Again, what is your value? Now, I think people will disagree with me. If you take out X, Y, and Z and you put Southern in there, Southern's getting more money within the state. If they're playing Alabama, Birmingham, they're going to get more money. And Willie, you may disagree. I understand that.
And I do. And I
know,
do.
and I understand,
no
but their value.
Doubt. No
their
doubt.
value, and who's negotiating those contracts? The ADs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but those dollars, Carlos, are already decided in advance. So they're not basing it on what school's going to bring the most people, whether or not the band's going to come. All that doesn't play a part in it at all. They're budgeted X amount of dollars for that particular venture at that particular time. And bottom line being, if you're close by, you're not going to get as much money as if you're traveling a long distance. So you have to look at the proximity of the travel. That goes into play. I tell folk all the time. I was at A&T. I negotiated a basketball game with Duke. Okay, but they were coming to A&T, not to A&T, but to the Greensboro Coliseum. So whereas if I was going to Duke, I probably would have got maybe closer to 100,000. But because they were coming to Greensboro and on the quasi A&T's home court, they only wanted to go 50. So I was going to turn it down, but 50 is better than 0. I mean, so, in essence, it was a home game for us. We got the gate receipts on top of the 50. So, I mean, we did okay coming out of it, but I understood the dynamics. And, I knew that if I didn't take that, somebody else was going to take it. I was going to be left out on the short end of the stick. So, I mean, it's not a matter of knowing what you're worth. I don't think that's it at all. I just think it's a certain amount of dollars that's slotted, number one. And then number two, the closer you are in proximity, the less you're going to get. And if you historically, you can look back over it, Carlos, if you're an in-state foe, or you're close by, you're not getting the same amount of money as somebody that's coming from 2 states away or 3 states away. Or if I'm traveling across country, I'm going to get more money. The goal is to bring home probably around 75 to 80% of your guarantee. After you come out of there with expenses, that sort of thing, after you take care of travel, buses, and plane fare if necessary, hotels, meals, the whole 9 yards with that. After you take care of that, can you bring home 80% of that guarantee? And if you've done that, you've been successful. Regardless of the dollar amount, you've been successful.
Right.
Well,
let me ask you
ahead.
Isn't it really sometimes I think it depends on the school, because sometimes in-state opponents do pretty well, because I know the last time we played UAB in football, we got more than what they gave Alcorn. And I think and I'm gonna be honest, and it's because we're so close. We're only an hour and a half away from them. But what drove our guarantee up was the fact that our people travel. Birmingham is a mecca for our alumni, and so the UAB's had one of their largest three attendance is against A&M.
But you have to look also. Is the UAB a big draw? And if the answer is no, then you would command a few more extra dollars because they believe that you're going to bring some people to the arena.
Right. Yeah.
But you subtract UAB and put Auburn in that picture. Auburn's not hurting for attendance. Alabama's not hurting for attendance. So people are going to come to those games if Liberty Baptist is going to play. It doesn't matter. They're going to be there. So LSU, those schools like that, where they're selling out on the regular, okay, they're not dependent on you to help fill up their arena. So you're not going to have the same kind of negotiating power that you would have with a McNeese or somebody else, Louisiana Lafayette or whomever else may be out there that's looking for you to bring some people to help fill up their stands and to bring their band and all that sort of thing. Those other schools, they don't care if you come. They don't care if the band come. They don't care if the AD come. It don't make no difference to them whatsoever. They just want you to show up, take that whooping, get that check, and take these pizzas and get on back on the road and go on back home. Thank you. Please come again.
Well, I'm going to give two examples. Nickel State is playing LSU this year. They're not getting as much as Southern. Southern got $750,000.
And what did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Wait a minute. I'm still saying.
What was my comment on that? Put it out there, Carlos.
What was your comment? What was your comment?
What comment did I text you in that regard?
You have to refresh my memory.
We got the black HBCU poor man's race. Okay.
Wait a minute, Weller.
I feel sorry for y'all. I know you trying to make budget, that sort of thing. Let me throw you a few extra dollars, a few extra bones. Okay, so I have done my good deed for the year in terms of giving back to the cause.
Well,
and don't think, Carlos, that they don't think like that.
Don't
think that they don't think like that, Carlos, because
they
do.
Wait a minute. In the state of Louisiana, and Dr. Cavill talked about it on the show previous to ours. You might call it poor mouth, but I'm just saying Southern's going to demand more money. They got something. The other example, Georgia. The University of Georgia, they got 700,000, almost $1 million. So hey, poor mouth, yeah, you can poor mouth me, but I can only speak for Southern. Southern's going to demand much more money, and if you take Alcorn out, you take Alabama A&M out, Southern's going to bring in a few more coins. We'll put it your way, Wheeler. Oh boy, it's almost 20 minutes out, and I hadn't got to my other segment yet. We were supposed to do this at the end of the show.
Sorry for taking up all the time, guys. Sorry for taking up all the time.
Yeah, well, even with that said, I wouldn't like to see so many of those games, but I know I'm in the minority. It's easier to go play these type of games and get that check. And you hope nobody gets hurt, because it all matters with the conference. But like Southern goes to Fresno next year in California. You want to know how much they're getting? They're getting more than Alcorn got to go to UAB, and they're traveling 7-8 states over. That's all I'm saying. Who's negotiating interest? LSU didn't lose money playing us. Also, that game was a city event. They also said, and I talked to some LSU people, They've tailgated when Alabama came. It was more people there for that event, tailgating and stuff. Then it reminds you of Alabama was there, but it was Southern University. But anyway, those games are here to stay, right?
And Carlos, that's what we did when we used to play UAB before UAB built Progressive. They played at Legion Field. The tailgate area was off the chain, but it was all of our people. Their people were shocked to see how many people came up to tailgate. So I think some of the guarantees I feel are based on the individual school. I think that the draw, the attraction, and then all these years that Gramblin's been on the road, do you know that they have to include their band in a lot of those negotiations? Their band has to be a part of them traveling, because in some of those places, like when they used to go out to California, they wanted to see the Gremlin band just as much as they wanted to see that football team. So I just think it's going to be based on the individual school. Everybody's not going to be treated the same.
No, everybody's not, and everybody's never treated the same. Right. I mean, so that part is no thing at all, but it's just like I said, it's some rhyme to the reason in terms of why some schools kind of get more than others. And that proximity thing is real. I'm telling you, it's very, very real. If you're in state fold, that sort of thing. And like I said, it depends on, the drawing power of the home school. If they're used to selling out, that sort of thing, they ain't really caring if you bring what you bring into the table, because they're going to sell out anyway. It's going to be there.
Well, it's going to be paid. It's going to be paid attendance. They're going to be there. But I know, not for a fact, but I know some of those type of games, it won't be 100,000 in there. It'll be paid attendance, but actual people, because they know the end results of these games. Let's just not kid ourselves. If it's the only reason that those games help makes the budget, and we'll go to timeout as this, because I'll get into the last word. If you're not able to play those games anymore, then what happens? You still got to have a football program. You still got to have an athletic program.
And somehow you got to make up that shortfall.
Right. And so
that goes to you, A.D. Willa Brown.
Then they're going to put it on the basketball coaches.
Somebody going to suffer.
Well.
And like you just said, Coach Pettaway, it's going to have to slide over another notch.
Right.
It's a tough job.
Instead of 5 guarantees, Coach Pettaway, you might have to give me 7 now. Might have to give me 8.
That's what I'm doing to that. Oh my goodness. Oh man should not live by bread alone.
Wow. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
On that note, go ahead, Charles, and then we'll get a quick timeout.
In terms of guarantees, we got 3+ for UAB. We're going to get another 3+ for Vanderbilt. But, I look at the SEC. We played the highest guarantee that I can remember Alcorn getting paid was several years ago. We played Arkansas and Little Rock. We got 5 and change. That's the highest guarantee I can remember. And from what I'm seeing that the SEC schools can pay a little bit more. I don't know what
really? They can pay a little bit more. They can afford
more. They can afford more.
They can afford more. I don't know what A&M is getting for playing Auburn. I think it may be, was it 500?
550,000, I thought.
525. But see, that's down because the first time we played them, we got 600,000. All right, you got 600,000 a year. We went to Cincinnati. So it's I think it depends on the conference. Some of the conference, just like in basketball, there are certain conferences we know as basketball coaches, you're gonna get a decent guarantee. But then you got other conferences, you're not gonna get the big guarantee.
Yeah. I'm just disgusted. I change the subject. Unbelievable. You know, and the sad thing is, I know it's still more to come. You know, still more to come.
If we were selling out our stadiums in conference, packing it out every single conference game, we wouldn't be going through as many of these games as we're going.
You're absolutely right, Charles. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Coach Pettaway, I'm kind of skeptical about that because I've been hearing that for a long time, and you know, it doesn't help if you get blowed out 7-0. It really doesn't.
Right.
And then,
what does it do for those kids, man? That's terrible.
Well, from the athletic standpoint, I know they want to see how I can compete against some of those peers that they had coming out of high school together. But when you get on that collegiate level, resources, nutrition, all that thing, then 85 scholarships to 63. I don't care what country you're in. Mathematically, 63 can go into 85 with a remainder. So, yeah, get the paycheck.
If you're a player, Carlos, if you're a player, you want to test yourself against the best that's out there.
I thought I just said that. Did I just say that? No.
Yeah, I'm just
okay.
I'm just dapping what you said.
Okay, dap.
That's all.
Yeah.
But if you're a player, you want to play against the best that's out there. You want to say that I should be on that other sideline instead of over here where I am. I can play with those guys. I should be over there.
That's exactly right. And I remember Jay Hobson talking about that when we played Mississippi State and others. And he heard some of the players at the time, some of our players saying, you know, they were being recruited by Mississippi State and USM. Well, now you're playing Mississippi State and USM. Let's see how you stack up against those players. The same ones that are looking at you. You're here at All Point, of course. We're glad to have you, but let's see how you stack up. I hear that in all the sports, baseball, basketball, they're recruited. So now you're going up against these schools, and let's see how you stack up.
And in some instances, you see why you're not over there on the other sideline.
Well,
a lot of instances, you find out the real reason why.
Well, Coach Pettaway, it's called resources. If me and you are coming out, and let's say we're 3 stars, whatever, coming out of high school, I go to Alabama A&M, you go to LSU. You're going to have, it's not to say I can't make it to the next level, but your path is going to be much easier with resources, technology, and just, I'm sorry, all being equal coming out, we take different paths. Those resources are huge, huge, but you'll have an easier path, but I still could make it. I just got to work my ass off.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm going to take a time out. I got to get a drink of water. I said I wasn't going to let it get to me, but boy, these money games, and just ask, we're talking about football, not basketball. Oh. Unbelievable. You know what? Student athletes, you ought to get a Purple Heart for going and doing things for your university. And the only thing I will say is this. Those games, if 50%, that's a shame that I'm saying 50%.
Carlos.
Okay, hell, 40% goes back into the program. That'll be one thing, but it's not going back in there.
Carlos.
Willa, can I get a break in first?
Carlos,
let me get a break in first.
Play the damn game, Carlos. Play the damn game.
No, I wouldn't play him. It was up to me.
Wipe the tears, wipe your butt, whatever it is. Let's go.
You're putting it on the back. You're putting it on the back of those players.
Let's go get it.
The ADs should.
Let's go get it and be done.
Make it get it. No, if I had a way, you wouldn't play that many games, one every 4 years. What would happen to me then? On that note, we'll take a time out. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return, I promise.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coach Brown Show right here on Black College Sports Network. Make sure you hit the notification button, like, and share. Not only the Coach Brown Show, but all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network. Southern University kicks off their season against McNeese State. 3 appearances. They played each other 3 times. McNeese leads the series 3-0. Now, last week, I got a chance to watch McNeese State and Tarleton State, 26-23. But here's a couple of observations, guys, the panel. Tarleton State lost their starting quarterback, I think right before half. They didn't score any points in the second half. McNeese State was able to rally, and I think one of the reasons because it was 3 and out the second half. McNeese State came into this year 1-10. I think 1 victory last year, and so they dropped a 26-23 decision to Tarleton State to go 0-1 on the season. Now, Mr. McDowell, you'll hear that name. He had almost 245 yards passing, and he led them in rushing. He's a athletic quarterback, a dual threat, and for Southern University now, they're going to have a plan to account for him across the edges. Everyone will have to know where he's at. I think they're going to spy him being McDowell. But for McNeese, they're 44-15 home openers in their stadium since 1965. McNeese posted 14 plays that gained 10 or more yards in the game. So they make explosive plays. One was an 80-yard run and catch pass. McDowell is that offense, and he's only been in the program like a month. So they felt he made good progress as far as what they want to do. So at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus, Southern University and McNeese State meet for the fourth time. I'll give my prediction and I'll also give some keys to victory for what Southern University has to do. But McNeese in the Southland Conference, Southern in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, these are the games that I look at with a critical eye. This is not playing up FBS. This is a peer school. So let's see what the Jaguars able to do under Coach Graves his first year. Coach Gary Goff for McNeese State in his third year, his overall record is 64-71. And at McNeese now he's 1-11. But they're rebuilding, and also Charles, Coach Pettaway and Wheeler, they went into the transfer portal very big. Yeah, I agree with that. McDowell is the biggest Darius Skelton with a better arm. He throws the deep ball very well. That intermediate routes, the short passing game, I think that still has to come for him. But I would agree with that. He's a bigger version of Ladarius Skelton from Southern University. 6'5", about 230. Committed to Southern University at one point, but he went on to Montana State. Then he was at Temple. Then he committed to Prairie View. Then he committed to McNeese. So he's been all over the place. But it'll be interesting to see what Southern University will be able to do. With Southern University, Coach Frederick has talked about the gumbo offense, establishing the running game, and they're breaking in a quarterback who doesn't have a whole lot of experience, but he has some experience. Charles, it's going to be interesting. These are the type of games that you look at, FCS to FCS, and I think it's time for Southern University to get that first win against McNeese State.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Coach Graves era. Noah Bowden's going to get the start, and so we'll see offensively. You know what we saw with some of these other games is defensively you kind of lean on your defense until your offense gets going, especially with the new scheme, new coordinators, and new quarterback. Just like all.
Charles, you're breaking up.
Okay.
Well, we'll take over till we get Charles's audio and video going back. But Noah Bowden for Southern University, a starter.
Yeah, I mean, for
oh yeah, Charles logged out and logged back in.
Yeah, yeah.
For Southern University, offensive lineup, Cameron Foster played at McNeese, started at McNeese, transfer into transfer. Antonio Sanders.
You're
Carlos,
chopping
your
up
audio.
too, Carlos.
Carlos,
Okay.
your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better, Carlos.
Okay. Now I was saying Cameron Foster played at McNeese State. He's at left tackle, left guard, Antonio Sanders. Joshua Trask, returning starter at center. DeAndre Richard transferred in from Northwestern State, has experience playing in the Southland Conference. He's listed at the right guard, right tackle. Courtney Lyles, who I interviewed on this show from community college and also played at Jackson State. He's at right tackle. And the tight end is Dupree Fuller. Kendrick Rhymes gets to start at running back over Kobe Dillon. Whitfield, Kirkwood, and Morris rounds out the receivers. So with that being said, it's a lot of subplot stories with Southern University. They've got 5 or 6 guys that played at McNeese State. So Wheeler, I know it'll go down to X's and O's and execution, but players from McNeese, they kind of know going back, they're going to want to play well on the road for Southern University.
And it's about finding out who you are early on. And you just hope that you can win as you find out who you are and what you're going to be about, that sort of thing. And, I think Coach Graves has taken the right path in terms of, direction, that sort of thing. But, we all know how fickle and feeble, the fans are, that sort of thing. And, you know, hopefully they got a good game plan together. Seems like they've been working really hard throughout the preseason, that sort of thing. He has decided on his quarterback, and he's going to ride with this kid and see what he does and see what he brings to the table. No reason why Southern can't be successful. And as you just stated, it's a peer school. So the expectation should be different than if they were playing LSU or somebody else. This is a winnable game for Southern, no doubt. And I think anything less than that is going to be some disappointment. But like I said, the key is trying to find out who you are and winning at the same time, especially early in the season.
And Coach Pettaway, I think it's going to be critical for Southern University because I was kind of looking at the weather report. Good chance of rain here in Baton Rouge. Also, a lot of moisture is coming up from the Gulf and Lake Charles. 30-40% chance of rain during the game, but most of the rain, I think, is from the forecast will happen before the game. So the running game will be critical anyway if it was dry weather for Southern University, because I don't want to see them have to have the quarterback to go out and have to win the game by itself. A good running game will help the passing game. And Coach Frederick, the offensive coordinator, a couple of times on the show talked about being able to establish and run the football. Also, I think tight ends will be very crucial. Charles, you might remember this name. And Coach Graves texted me during the show 2 weeks ago. He got Ethan Howard back, who started at Southern University as a freshman, went in the transfer portal, went to Troy State, now back at Southern University. In the last scrimmage, 4 or 5 receptions. He's a tight end that can stretch the field vertically. And let's pencil in the tight ends. Let's see how well. They've been talking about adding this in the offense under Coach Dooley for the last couple of years. He's out of here. Let's see if Coach Frederick will incorporate the tight ends. But I think running the football and being balanced offensively for the Jaguars and not turn the ball over, turf field down at McNeese State, rain before the game, but during the game, I think the running game is going to be crucial and not making mistakes. So we've kind of seen that in the early games throughout college football. And also I was impressed that usually the defenses are ahead of the offenses. But boy, if you watch North Dakota State and some of you saw FAMU and Norfolk State in week 0, the offenses and running the football was key.
Right. And I think the other reason why Southern needs to run the football, time of possession. They got to control the time of possession, and you can do that by if you got a running game, and that keeps McNeese on the sideline. So that's very important. And you mentioned Florida A&M, one of the teams that we're expecting to do well in the SWAC, but to give up over 200 yards rushing on the ground, that defense got to better come from somewhere. They got to improve that defense, or else the Rattlers are not going to be spitting any fire this year if they don't improve that defense.
And speaking of that, Charles, your good buddy Dawson Odom's nothing new in Wheeler. They're going to run the football, and he was gashing them at first, but then gap integrity. They made some adjustments, and you force Norfolk State to throw the football to win. They only threw 7 passes. Now, ask me how many they completed. I couldn't tell you.
Right.
And the same thing with McNeese. I think you make McDowell have to beat you with his arm. Yeah, he's got a strong arm, but I'm selling with forcing him to beat me throwing the ball, and you've got to account for him with his athletic ability. He is an athlete playing quarterback.
Carlos, what did you think about when Dawson Odom with 6 minutes to go on the clock went for the 2 instead of tying the ball game? What?
I would have went for the extra point.
Right.
Now is that kicker? Has he been struggling? Wait a minute, why are you shaking your head? I mean, if he goes for the 2 and he gets it, he's praised.
He's a hero.
And if you don't
he
get
didn't
it, you're gonna get some blame for it.
I think
That's why he's getting paid the big bucks to make the decision.
That's true too. That's true too. I think he was looking at the fact that his team wasn't the best conditioned team out there at that particular time. I think he was afraid about the possibility of going into overtime. And, quite frankly, Carlos, hell, you play this game to win it. And if I can, if I got a good play, I got a good, good call, I think it showed guts by going for it.
But now, Wheeler, you've been gashing them all day by giving the ball to your running backs. Why are you letting your quarterback go sleep?
He wasn't gashing them as much in the fourth quarter as they were right before halftime. So it had kind of, I ain't going to say diminished totally, but he wasn't getting the kind of gains that they had been getting early in the game. I think the first quarter, one of the boys had rushed for almost 100 yards, a little bit over 100 yards. Right. So, I mean, 6 one way, half a dozen the other, I guess.
Yeah, like I said,
he's a riverboat gambler. That's who he is. Mm-hmm. I would not have expected anything else from him. As a matter of fact, I would have been surprised if he went for the tie.
Conditioning.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
But he said that conditioning was an issue for them. He said because of the heat, that sort of thing, they weren't able to get out there like he wanted to get them out there. That they weren't as acclimated as he would have liked to have gotten them acclimated, to the heat, that sort of thing. And so, he kind of felt that was a sore spot for his team, going into the game. So I having said that, I can understand why he wanted to go ahead and get it over with, as opposed to going an extra period.
Wow.
But if you're a fan, are you buying that though?
No, I'm not. Never.
I'm not a fan, and I'm not buying.
Never. And if I am his supervisor, he's got to come at me with a little bit better one than that. Tell me you just wanted to go win the game. But don't tell me that, you didn't have the necessary time or what have you to get the kids acclimated like you wanted to, all that sort of thing, because I've given you the autonomy to bring these kids in early or, right when the NCAA allows it, that sort of thing. I'm giving you all the things that you need in order to get this done. Now, so in essence, what you're telling me, Charles, is that the trainers are holding you back. I ain't trying to hear that either. I'm not trying to hear that, because ultimately you're the head coach and you're not going to go over the head of the trainers. No doubt about that. We're not allowing that, but there are things that can be done to ensure that your kids are in the kind of shape that you want them to be in. So for me, what did they do all summer? Why weren't we in better shape coming into camp? The camp itself should not have been, that big of an issue. So
I like what Edwin says. I don't believe that conditioning talk. It was obvious to me.
Maybe not, and maybe he didn't have confidence
that he didn't
in his
trust.
kicking game.
He didn't trust his kicking game.
What's that Clint Eastwood say? Man, got to know his limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
and again,
he knew his.
In the post game, I'm getting up. I'm the CEO. I'm the head. We went for a decision. It didn't work. I take full responsibility and I move on.
Exactly.
Now to say the conditioning, boy, that just, unbelievable.
Anyway. When you talk about accountability, you look at Alcorn. I mean, Cedric Thomas said it after the game. He said, as a staff, we got to do better about it. The kids played hard, and we made a ton of mistakes in all phases, offense, defense, special teams. But Thomas took the approach for his staff, including him, didn't have his team ready to go because there was a lot of mistakes made. And so from the accountability standpoint, just like what Wheeler Brown was saying, you got to be accountable. You got to hold yourself and your staff accountable. That's what Cedric Thomas did. But, for Dawson Nobles, the conditioning thing, I was looking at it sideways too when he said it because, I don't know what their practice regimen is, but it's been hot all over the South. And you kind of knew going in Atlanta was going to be pretty hot and humid. So that was kind of a strange one to me too.
Always interesting. You're getting paid the big bucks. You make the decisions. You live with it. Again, if it works, they successful in the 2-point conversion. He's a hero.
Yeah.
You don't get it done, you're zero. Maybe I should say zero. But it's one of the games that Norfolk State lost another close game, and they brought that up. And the AD. I think he's in his 4th year. I could come to Wheeler Brown and say, well, look, the first year I didn't fare so well. The second year I was a couple of plays away. Last year, man, I lost about 6, 7, 8 games by 24 points. I'm gonna try to convince you.
They're having some financial difficulties there at Norfolk. That I do know. There's no doubt about that. And they've dialed back on a lot of their programs in terms of resources, that sort of thing. And, so I know that intimately, that is a factor. And that's probably the only reason why I wouldn't have been climbing up Odom's back in terms of the last couple of years not being on par with what his first year was. I think his first year he won like 7 games, I believe, somewhere around there. But the last 2 years, I think he's only won he's been like 2-8 or 3-8 or what have you.
3-8 last year.
Last couple years, and so as I look at it overall, like I said, I do know resources have been drastically cut, and so that's probably one reason why. But at the same time, we got to get it done. We got to find a way to get it done somehow. Football is a cash cow, and if I'm the AD or what have you, if we gotta twist and turn on some resources in order to get this guy the things that he needs in order to be successful, looking at the large picture, I gotta have football on par where it needs to be, okay, so that I can get that trickle down to the other sports because people are feeling good about football. Like I said, nobody's making any money, but football is my feel-good sport. Football is what's going to make everybody happy, make everybody feel good, hopefully make everybody dig a little deeper financially. And so that being the case, I got to do what's necessary to make sure that football is competitive.
Because if not, in some cases, not only the football coach makes an exit, the director of athletics.
No doubt, especially if he was my hire.
Yeah. So,
especially.
I always say it's a tough job. I say that all the time, but sometimes the decision making, and you got to have a good team around you, but ultimately it comes back to you. We're going to take a quick time out. Then we're going to transition a little bit. Eric Randall is logged in. He'll join us. Also, we'll continue. I kind of gave you the offensive starters. Defensive for Southern University, of course, Kelby Gibbons, preseason defensive player of the year at one end. Opposite, Darius Harry, transfer from Southeastern Louisiana. It's not his first year on the staff. He's penciled in. At the other end, Devin Cotton, defensive tackle, and Willie Miles at tackles. And then at Mike, linebacker, Vincent Page Jr., who we interviewed on this show. JUCO, he's starting at Mike linebacker. Derek Williams, all-conference player at the wheel linebacker. Then you got Marcus Bourne at Nichols. Cornerbacks coming back, Rodney Johnson. That's one. Eric Reed Jr. He started. And then Herman Bristol, transfer from Air Force, played locally at Southern Lab. He makes a start at safety. And then also Jarius Brown. You'll appreciate this, Wheeler, from Mobile. Came from Miles College, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Okay.
He started, and also a lot of depth. Returning starters on the defense. They'll have to carry Southern, most people say, early on. But I'm going to be looking at that offense and a rejuvenated offensive line, Wheeler.
Mm-hmm. That's where it's won.
Nice size. And now they've got about 18 to 20 offensive linemen. Will they all play? But I think you'll see 10 to 12 of them play in this game, that first game. We'll take a timeout. Eric Randall joins us coming up next. And then we'll also span the SWAC. We'll get into some of those Thursday night games and also the schedule for this Saturday. What you may notice, a lot of our teams are playing up. And then a Sunday game, Alabama State and North Carolina Central. We'll be back. You're watching the Coach Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more. But it's so absorbent, you can use less. So it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
The last time Southern University McNeese played, and I was at that game, 2021, 31-24 victory by McNeese. And I tell you, Southern was leading at the halftime, but they couldn't finish. With that being said, let me introduce our special guest. And boy, it looks like he still can play right now. Eric Randall.
How y'all doing, guys? Y'all doing okay?
All right, all right.
Doing all right. Eric, did you hear that? You look like you can play right now. It just seems like 25 or whatever years ago it was, it seems like you still can throw that football and direct an offense. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for the compliment, but it's a total facade. If you bump into the stove, look, if you bump into the stove, we off from work.
Oh, I understand, but
hey, that was a great segment. Y'all got me going, man. I was taking some notes. I was listening to all four of you guys, and it was good to hear you guys. This won't be my last time tuning in, I tell you that.
We appreciate that, and we hope to have you back many more times. Eric Randall, former Southern University, great quarterback. Let's start with your career. There's so many things we could start with, but your career at Southern University, and then we're going to put up some footage. Not that I'm picking at Charles, but it was another quarterback in that footage that was spectacular. But Eric Randall also had a nice performance in that game. But talk about your career at Southern University.
Oh, I tell you what, I owe it all to my mom first and foremost. All of my family went to Southern University. My grandmother actually taught me English ELA 110 at Southern when I first hit there in my freshman year. So Southern it's always been dear. My dad was in the quarterback club. He played in the band at Southern University, and all my aunts. So again, it was. When you were coming out of high school, I think it was a time where black quarterbacks were getting the opportunity to maybe go to PW, predominantly white institution. And that was interesting to me. But I'm glad that my mom stayed on me every time I came back from one of those big visits, what people would consider a big visit. She said, but it's just so big. People won't know you. People won't know you. And you know what? I'm looking at 35 years later. And I understand that a lot better. We take care of our own. That's all of the HBCUs. You have a more one-on-one. You have a better opportunity for a C student like myself to get a degree. You can make it through there, and you form those relationships that become so vital. But my career was simple. I mean, I came in. I got to know a lot of. I would say people now that you would call, kings and queens, Dolores Spikes, Marvin Yates, Marvin Allen, Gerald Kimball. I may leave out some people, Henry Baptiste. You're going to leave out Pete Richardson. I just saw Gary Smith last night, my offensive line coach, and I told him, I said, I'm indebted to you because you guys made men. So my career at Southern University was really, when I look back, it was about the maturation of developing men. And when you have men, that's when the chemistry can come into the fold. And when you look around at those guys who Southern always had athletes. When I got there, I saw general guys that were bigger than those other schools that I had visited. And so I met the gunslinger, Archie Cooley, Marino Chasm, Billy Long. I mean, it's just so many kings and queens there that you understand the whole deal later on. It wasn't a 4-year deal. It was more or less a 30-year deal situation there. And I'm still living off of the things that we did there. People know you, and you keep a good name in the community. So this is what it really all about. We're all not going pro. Like the commercial said, we're going pro in something other than than playing ball. So, and you're going to do that a hell of a lot longer than playing out there on that football field. But, you make do. But that Pete Richardson era was one for the road. It was second to none, I would like to believe, because of the transformation so quickly. But he had some men around him, and he handled us that way. And so it showed in 2 national championships and 1 SWAC title.
And if I'm not mistaken, you came in, the 4th, 5th game, 3rd game?
Third game.
Freshman season?
2. Yeah. Homecoming. It was homecoming. Yep.
and after that, you kept the reins.
Yeah. Let me tell you
didn't give it up.
that. If you want a good laugh, callers, let me tell y'all, all you guys, I think y'all like this at HBCU too. You started up with the band, and so all of the bands are great to me. You can rank them how you want, but they're all great to me because they have so much flair and they put so much passion into it, just as much as we do as athletes. But the old joke as a freshman is, Coach wants you to get in the game. So game one, guys were pulling the joke, and we were looking at the cheerleaders and the dancing dolls, of course. And so game two came around. So guys were like, hey, not just me, we were doing it on each other. Coach wants you to get in the game, going up there. So about the third game, I'm looking at the dancing dolls. Me and my friend, several of us Crab brothers. No, look at number 3. No, look at number 2. No, look at number 1. And so they said, Coach wants you to get in the game, Eric, and we serious. I said, go ahead on, man. Go. Go ahead on, man. So Coach Chasm came and pulled my shoulder pad, and I slung his arm off of me. I said, get your hand off me. He said, son, if you want to play in this game, I'm calling you. You know how Chasm is.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't find my helmet. I didn't know. Because as a freshman, when you don't play, you just throw your helmet anyway. You'll find it after the game. But it was the third game, and I would be remiss if I didn't say this again. I played with a lot of great men. I'm going to be honest with you. From all of those linemen on the defense, if you look around what they're doing. Now, Carlos, I know you know this. You know, we have several lawyers and doctors and administrators in the school system, running companies. And I look back, I say, God, we were pretty smart guys. You win with smart people and dedicated and committed people. So those guys meant the world to me. And as I get older, I reach out to them more.
It's, often it's said you build relationships, and those relationships last for life. We're visiting with Eric Randle, former Southern University, great quarterback. And I say great. I still feel that way because when I looked at the highlights of your career, when I talk about balance, that offense was balanced. They could run it, they could pass it.
That's right.
And it's tough to defend. Now, I'm going to move on a little bit. And I think we have the footage of it. Kind of set the scene, that Southern and Alcorn game. There was a guy on the other side that went on to a great career. And Eric, you told me a story about McNair and what he did, for I believe your brother, but we'll get that in as well. But that's Coach Richardson, that Alcorn game. I mean, it was packed. That's the loudest I've ever heard that stadium to this day.
Right. Well, everybody used to leave the stadium. In '92, I noticed everyone leave. They leave right after the band plays at halftime, and they go get ready for the party. So we vow, that's kind of hurtful as a football team. You look back and there's a full house, and then you look up, everybody's gone, especially your student section. So, that was one of the things, and we wanted to change that outlook and keep people there for both. Have entertainment on the field for 4 quarters as well as halftime and the 5th quarter. So, and that came into fruition. So, we kind of made a pact amongst brothers, a band of brothers there trying to just do something special. Basketball was winning at the time. Baseball was winning, and track was track always did a great job. So it was kind of like, when are you guys going to get on board? And so I think at that time they put some monies into the weight room and went out and got Pete Richardson and Coach Richardson, excuse me. And he brought in a great group of guys in there to coach us up. And so, again, we pretty much in debt. I'm looking at Sean Preston running. He's realtor and a principal down there in St. James area. Holiday, John Jenkins is a principal. Holiday, my offensive line, is a principal. I'm looking. It's just a whole lot of guys. Landry Williams, I'm throwing to right here. He's a principal. Chaz Newman is a principal and a realtor. So, we just had, Elvin Sterling is right here. He was a lawyer. He passed away a few years ago. Carlos Leach is a lawyer. He owns a whole law firm out there in Atlanta and between Atlanta.
I need to see him. Yeah. Yeah. He's, But
look at McNair. Look at McNair.
That's when he was most dangerous because he was looking down the field as he scrambled. And boy, that game, whew, man.
Great guy right there, Carlos. Y'all got me on. I don't know how much time, so I like to talk too because I run a school as well. But look, McNair did something, and I told his brother as well how good a man he is. Well, I met him on the SWAC tour in 1994, leading up to the season. And you never know about relationships, and we had a lot to talk about. And you know, he was just a special guy, man. We all knew that, saw that, and knew he was going to be destined for greatness, and he achieved that. And when my brother went to the Titans as a free agent, well, you know, when you go up there, guys, you don't have any money when you leave college back then. Mm-hmm. And so he was getting his $3,000 or $4,000 checks, but you know how that go. But McNair let him stay in his basement for a little while until he can get on his feet. And man, I thanked him for that. My mom thanked him, and we began to have a relationship again after all those years of being apart and having not seen him. So, I mean, just some great guys, and you know, God bless his soul and his family and so forth. But he made SWAC what it is, and that's why we love it so much.
Yeah, man. I mean, just to see him in person, and man, that was a great game, and those two institutions geographically are real close, the closest, even closer than Grambling State University. And you know, it was always a battle. It always was a battle. Right. Career after football, life after football. That's the way to title it. For those who don't know, you are in the education system. You were talking about all of the former players that became principals. I didn't know some of those names that became principals, but you're a principal in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. Talk about that, just life after football.
Well, I tell you what, you need to have a plan. I think all of you guys say it, and I think all adults know it that's out here in the forefront. And, I was blessed with this opportunity to go back to my alma mater. I'm at Glen Oaks High School, and it's been rewarding. This is year 28 for me. I'm only going to do 30, but this is year 28. When you still talk about shaping the minds, when you see what's going on in not just our community, but communities around this country. So many men are necessary, and I think people are seeing it. I think our ladies are doing an awesome job, but we invite, you guys invite, we invite, but this work after football, this is what it's really all about, because as I stated earlier, and we're trying to get young men to see, you know, the idols that you see out there are not the type of idols that you are going to become. And, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a rapper, but let's make certain that we're making some money toward, something that's going toward a pension. And so you have to be in the mindset of taking care of your kids. So this is some real work. I don't take lightly to it. As I tell my students, your futures are too important to us. And one way or the other, either they're going to be staring down the barrel of a gun, they won't have anything else left to play with, Carlos. It's only crime left, and that's real. I'm seeing it now. I've been seeing it about the last 5-6 years, because when you're running through life and raising your own family, it's a blur. You're concentrating on things that are in your household and trying to work. But now that all my kids are grown now, so I can see where you need to step in, because the older generation, they're just moving on up. It's time for them to pass the baton.
Yeah.
And so it's been rewarding. You help teachers grow to help, raise your academic standards there with each student.
Yeah. Well, we had a visitor. I work in the school system as well. Eric, I won't do 28, but maybe year 4, and maybe we're looking at about 5 or 6 more years. But one of the higher ups visited the classroom and said we need more good men, black men, And she
That's right.
kind of put it to me like, you need to be teaching. Oh, wait a minute, one step at a time. But the point is, it is needed. And working in the school system, you kind of can see how things are going. You know, you can have opinions.
Right.
You can have opinions about it, but once you work in the system and you can see it from the inside out, yeah, it's rewarding. And I will say that because it's keeping me living alive right now, working in the school system.
Right.
And I work for autistic kids, but still, there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, Eric, I don't know if people will know this, but you mentioned your kids are grown, but you have a son.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
He's playing for it. Well, he's still playing. He's in school for HBCU. Can you share about that? And who are you pulling for in that Bayou Classic? I guess I just tipped my hand there.
Well, here's the deal. He's at Grambling. Yeah, he's at Grambling. He's had a little journey, and he's trying to seek out, how he's going to matriculate through this thing called life. And he was at Memphis first, and then transferred to Tech. And then now he's over at Grambling. I think he's found a home with Coach Joseph there. And I think he's in the rotation. I'll be leaving out soon to go see what he's doing. I don't call him much. He's got to figure this thing out. He's at Grambling, but you asked the main question. You know dang on well, Carlos, you put this microphone in front of me, I'm a Jaguar through and through. You better be glad my room in here. My room in here is junky. It's junky in here. And so I have all my Southern stuff around, but I'm going to support him. I want to see him do well, of course. We all want to see our kids do well. It's just that on that 24th, 25th, 26th, whatever the game is, he's on one side. I'm going to hug him on the field and tell him, can I curse on him? I'm just
Well, I
but he plays
understand
defensive back. Defensive back. He plays defensive back. And I heard some names for Southern. Man, I'm telling you, these kids have grown up. I heard Herman Brister. They all played together, my son and him. The Izar kid that's at Southern that can spin it. Not tall in stature, but he's smart. He's athletic. We've watched him play since he was knee-high to this grasshopper now. So it's interesting to see all those guys. Today we'll see Michael David, Rohan David's son. He plays linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see how he and Bristol them interact, So with all these guys, it's their time now. So, but I'll be pulling for Southern. I want to make that totally clear, Jaguar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On that note, Eric, we appreciate the time. Let's do this again. I would like to invite you back and make some predictions and give us some of that football IQ. We'll have a lot to talk about after game one. But I will say this, Eric, Noah Bolden, who played in the Bayou Classic, came from Grambling State. He got the assignment to start. And I'll just say this with Coach Mark Frederick, offensive coordinator. He says he wants to implement the running game more and also have a balanced offense. And so when I think about balanced offense, I go back to that year you played. 223 yards passing, you average 204 yards on the ground. That's what I like, balance. It's like a boxer. You got to watch out for.
Got to have a tight end. And you got to have that tight end. I heard him talking about a tight end this morning. I heard you guys talking about a tight end. And we had Lawrence Hart back there. You remember Lawrence? Played with the Jets?
Yeah, do I?
Yeah. So you got to have a tight end if you're going to try to run the ball.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
And I say yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
You're absolutely right. All righty. Let's talk again real soon. All right. Appreciate you. All right. That was Eric Randall. That was a quick one there. Eric Randall. Former Southern University quarterback, now a principal in the local school system here. So with that being said, we'll take a timeout. Gentlemen, when we come back, Thursday's game, we're going to look at that. Then we're going to set the schedule. Which is the game of the week? Do we call it the big game of the week, or we just stick with game of the week in the conference? We'll let you decide, the panel. We'll be back after this timeout. You're watching the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be. You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel. Yes! That's how you waffle! Mr. This script got a plot twist at a Radisson hotel. A business big leaguer. Go for key. Even the ultimate pool float inflator. With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true. Gotta get the corners.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield. Never not working.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Clifton McDowell, the name to remember for McNeese State. Looking at his statistics from last week, 20 carries for 67 yards. He was 14 of 20 for 245 yards, 2 TDs, as long as pass was a 80-yard pass running catch for McNeese State. Charles, you'll love this. Specialist for Southern University, Joshua Griffin, a senior from Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Kenny Pham, P-H-A-M, from Texas, but came to Southern University from Alcorn State. He's also the punter.
I'm getting ticked off, Carlos.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. To get ticked off on this show. First of all, you have basketball and you show highlights of Southern and Alcorn. that obviously, got me a little going. Here we go. We can't seem to get around these conversations. I ain't happy. I'm Thursday night, and I'm still steaming about that, and now we got to deal with this.
Well, they say the most improvements from game 1 to game 2. So for Alcorn State coming up against Vanderbilt this week, I look for some improvement, but it is a tough situation. But the SWAC scoreboard, spanning the SWAC segment. Thursday score, Jackson State drops a decision to ULM 30-14. It was Arkansas, as you can see it, all over Pine Bluff, 70-0, and UAB over Alcorn State, 41-3. I did listen to the majority of the broadcast, and I had the television going. I was watching North Dakota State and Colorado. Alcorn, the bright spot, defense forced some turnovers. But offensively, just, couldn't get it done. And mind you, I know you're playing up, but I think you wanted some more success, at least offensively. And for Jackson State, it was 14-14, I think, at half. A ULM, a group of 5, but let's be honest, first-year coach, group of 5, but not one of the stronger group of 5 football programs. But with that being said, JSU made a good accounting of themselves. Gentlemen, Thursday night games, it is what it is.
Yep, it is.
And when you look at, and the other thing, even on Thursday, when you look at the attendance wasn't, you didn't have great attendance on Thursday night game. Even at ULM, UAB didn't have the big crowd. So Thursday nights is not a big draw in the SWAC for SWAC teams.
And you can tell, for us, Carlos, I was kind of talking with their radio guy about what the attendance might be, but then a few days before the game, they were selling tickets for $10. So that told me something right there, that they're looking to get some people in the stands. Whether they get a part in it, an hour delay due to lightning. The Thursday night game, our band wasn't there. Our band won't be there next week either at Vanderbilt. And so, Thursday nights are tough. I mean, there's no question about it. Thursday night games are tough games. And in our conference, we've talked about it for 25 years. And you kind of see it now in 2024. It's still a tough ticket on Thursday nights to get people to come out.
Right.
And UAB in their new stadium, when we were at SWAC Football Media Day, you look across and say, well, that's a nice stadium.
Beautiful.
2 years old?
Beautiful.
But when they played in Legion Field, low crowds. And, you talk about getting a check. Yeah, wow. Some teams can't afford to pay $800,000, $900,000, particularly when you're talking about a group of 5. I understand that point, but yeah, Thursday nights are tough, disappointing crowd, and let's be honest, they probably not going to come out anyway if they were playing Alabama. They would have had much more people there, but I don't think it would have been a sellout. And let's just be honest, their alums, when they find out you're playing Alcorn, a Southern University, they paid attendance there, but they're not coming. So, with that being said,
well, one of the things that I was told, and just talking with our AD, Robert Raines, about the guarantee, the UAB game was a late addition. Vanderbilt, that deal was done a while ago. We're supposed to be in Miami right now, Carlos. We're supposed to play in the Orange Blossom Classic. And some contractual things didn't work out, so we didn't get a chance to play down there, and UAB was right there. There's a website that will kind of give you an idea of what these schools are paying out in terms of guarantees. So you can kind of, I don't know the name of the site, but it's out there where you can go and look at. But and you talk about Southern University. I think a school like UAB would do their homework and see that Southern draws well, their fans travel well. And I would guess, this is my opinion, that if UAB called Roman Banks and Southern University to play on a Saturday night to start the season. I think Southern will probably get a few more dollars because their fans show, their band will show, and they do their homework from what I've been told, what the fan base is, how they travel. So I do think Southern will probably get a few more dollars. You know, we got 3 and change. We're going to get 3 and change next week to play Vanderbilt. But I think Southern will probably get a few more, in my opinion, because their fans do travel. You know, some fan bases don't travel well in this conference. We all know what those are. I'm not going to say anything about that, but it's just a reality. You know, we got a big fan base in Birmingham, Atlanta, Montgomery. You know, the weather kind of hurt a little bit, but I think it was a good turnout for us if the weather was better, even on the Thursday night. But there's some schools in this conference that travel well. The fans travel well. The Southern is one of those bases.
Yeah, well, their brand is different. I'll put it that way. I know people are going to say, oh, there he goes, being cocky and arrogant again, talking about Southern and what they bring to the table. But, you know, again, I just think they're going to demand more money.
Well, I think, Carlos, there's no doubt about that particular aspect of it. I think when you got those schools that are challenged in terms of not selling out their own stadium, you know, those PWIs that don't do a good job of drawing, that sort of thing, then you're going to get a few more dollars. You know, if your brand is one of those brands that bring a lot to the table, you're going to get a few more dollars. No doubt about that. For those schools that historically sell out, regardless of who they're playing, that sort of thing, those are the ones that's really not going to give a darn, you know, who you bring or what you bring to the table, that sort of thing. So, you know, your UABs and, you know, schools like that, you know, naturally, I think they're going to look to see, you know, who brings what to the table, that sort of thing. And you'll be able to negotiate with them accordingly. You know, but a lot of the SEC schools like Alabama, Georgia, you know, those schools like that, you know, they're not hurting for people to get those tickets. You know, they come into the market with a set frame of mind, dollars and cents wise, and you know that they're not going over that pretty much. You know, so it is what it is on that one. I would think. I would say this though before you move on. You know, those classic games that, you know, we used to have, there used to be a dime a dozen, that sort of thing. You know, they were instrumental in terms of cutting down on the number of quote unquote play up games or guarantee games that, you know, we were playing. You know, but, you know, because of the fact that you can't find a decent promoter out here nowadays, you know, and a lot of the classics that historically used to be good money makers aren't that way anymore, like Circle City and, you know, a few others. You know, they're not paying the dollars that they paid, you know, back in the early 2000s, that sort of thing. So that's really what's driving the market in terms of going out to get those guarantee games from those PWIs. You know, the fact that we're not able to, those classics have pretty much disappeared. You know, or they're pretty much non-existent. And, you know, so that if you really want an answer, that's an answer to that. I saw one of your, in the chat room, somebody asked about not playing D2s or whether or not we want to play D2s. I mean, with the end game being a Celebration Bowl, it really doesn't matter. You know, if you got a good D2 that draws well, that sort of thing, you know, you definitely want to bring them in, you know, because your concern is not the rankings, the FCS rankings, that sort of thing. You know, the end game for you is going to be the Celebration Bowl. So you're going to do whatever it takes, you know, in terms of maybe the 1 or 2 guarantee games that you may have scheduled. But other than that, you know, you want some instances where you got a chance to be successful. And if playing a D2, a strong D2 helps you do that, you're not really worried about whether or not, you know, the rankings, you're going to be ranked in the FCS top 25, that sort of thing, because the playoffs is a non-entity, a non-factor for you. Anyway.
I would say this, Carlos, you know, Graham was playing Tuskegee today. Man, that's a matchup that I would really love to see, because when you talk about Tuskegee in just about any sport, Tuskegee brings it. And there's some of our conference schools don't want to fool with Tuskegee, even in football. because if they beat you, especially maybe Alabama State, Tuskegee is a big rivalry. Alabama A&M, I think they play Tuskegee. That's a big rivalry. But there's some schools in this conference, when you talk about playing them, even in basketball, oh no, because they bring it and they're good and they're going to challenge you. And if they beat you, you're going to have to deal with that on social media and all that. So I'm glad that Gramblin's playing Tuskegee because I think that's going to be a really good football game. But there's some D2 schools out there that are really good. And some that, if you talk to some people in the back rooms, they don't want to fool with them. And I think Tuskegee's one of those. And I would like to see more of our teams play Tuskegee. I know Bama State and A&M's doing it. I'd like to see Alcorn do it, quite frankly. I mean, from a monetary standpoint, do we play them at Spinks? I think a lot of our fans will show up because it's an HBCU and they love, they love that competition. But I tell you what, Tuskegee wants to show everyone that, they may be D2, but they can beat the big boys too. So that will kind of be their Super Bowl, just like, the Alabama State game is. So I'm glad to see that. And some of those D2s, especially at our level, the HBCU D2s are really good and they're going to challenge you.
Yeah, now, Willa, you would love this now. Like he's mentioned Tuskegee, that's an instant sellout in basketball. If I schedule Tuskegee on a Saturday night or Friday night, that's a sellout. Standing room only, okay?
Yeah.
You play them in football. Make it homecoming. It's standing room only. Instant sellout. The Division II program, they're about right at 4 hours from Huntsville. They're alumni based. They like playing against Alabama A&M because we were all in the SIAC together. So that's still there. Miles College. If we play Miles College, basketball or football, you got a nice crowd. You got a sellout in basketball. You got a nice crowd in football. So there are some Division II programs where they're paying to travel, and for Alabama A&M, our fans still want to see some of those teams. They'll come out for them. They come out for them.
Well, hopefully we'll see some of those matchups. Southern has Savannah State coming in next week as well. Now, for today's game, Saturday, August the 31st, Mississippi Valley State at Tennessee State. Well, we'll go by the video up here, the graphics. South Carolina State at FAMU. Mississippi Valley State at Tennessee State. Cookman at South Florida. Texas Southern at Prairie View, Labor Day Classic. Alabama A&M at Auburn. Grambling State at Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Southern University at McNeese. And then Sunday, it's North Carolina Central versus Alabama State in the Orange Blossom Classic. Well, game of the week, you think out of those? I can look at FAMU and South Carolina State. FAMU squeaking by Norfolk last week. Mississippi Valley State at Tennessee State. Mississippi Valley State, displayed a new athletic turf. Looks beautiful. Beautiful, I must say.
First game.
Yeah, well, come on. Maybe you'll have a quarterback situation settled by then. Hopefully so. Grambling at Louisiana. Been to a game there before. Southern opened the season there a few years back. That's going to be an interesting game. Texas Southern and Prairie View and all righty. Mississippi Valley State and Tennessee State. Who you like in this game? The panel.
Well, I just think Tennessee State playing at home, I think they'll come out on top.
Boy, doesn't Mississippi Valley State always have a tough opening 2 weeks? My goodness.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee State by a lot.
Ooh, by a lot. Okay, Charles, I'm sure you're going to say Valley's improved, and if they're not careful, they can slip up on them. Am I correct?
No, I'm going with Tennessee State. We talk about the fortunate or unfortunate, these guaranteed games. Valley is not in a position where they can play up because they don't offer enough aided scholarships to do that. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to be playing the FCS, the Tarleton's of the world, and the McNeese's and the Tennessee State. But, Valley, Coach Wade, he's very enthusiastic, talking to the media day. but too much Eddie George, too much Tennessee State.
Yeah, I would agree. Tennessee State wins in that game. FAMU and South Carolina State. Most improvement from game 1 to game 2. Game of the week. Okay, put you down for game of the week. South Carolina State bringing in a new coach there. He's flamboyant. He's a motivator. Will it be enough? Will it be enough, panel, to defeat FAMU, who, I'm not mistaken, they have one of the longest, if not the longest, streak in FCS football at home.
Yep. So I'm FAMU all the way on this one. I'm FAM all the way.
You want to give a score or just stick with FAMU?
No, just FAMU. They'll win it. They'll find a way to win it at home.
Who's next?
My heart is with South Carolina State because Chennis is one of my mentees, and he and I kind of go back 20 plus years, that sort of thing, and so I'm rooting for him, but common sense pretty much tells me that it should be FAMU's game, and I'm gonna go with FAMU by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. But I like FAMU also, Charles, in this game. I like them. Give them a plus. Give them a +3. I was tempted to say 7, and it could be, but let's see if FAMU continues that second half of being able to stop the run, because they were gashed in the first half, and I'm sure Coach Berry, who was at Southern University, and the O-line coach, associate head coach, he believes in running that football, and he believes in being tough. Oh, Mary says FAMU by 10.
Okay.
Mary,
all right.
Hey, I was tempted too by 10 points, but yeah. Charles?
3 to 4. I was going to say 23-14, so that's Mary's about right. And look, FAMU got tested last week, battle tested. I think the message was sent. Chennis Berry's going to do a good job at South Carolina State. There's no question about it. I thought it was a great there, taking over for the legend. But Florida A&M's got it going a little bit, and I think a wake-up call last week. They're at home. They're really good at Bragg. I got FAMU winning it by 10.
Interesting, the quarterback for FAMU, it's not a tall guy. Came from the transfer portal. But, man, you give him a little time, he can spin it. He can spin it. Now, he started off a little tough, but, man, he reminds me of the guy that played at Southern University. Somebody help me. G. Holly, he's in Houston now, but he was a left-hander for, I can't think, a middle-aged moment for Southern University, but he was a left-hander, but he was short in stature, but he could spin it as well. And this guy kind of reminds me of the quarterback at FAMU. Texas Southern and Prairie View A&M, the Labor Day Classic, the team that no one ever talks about a lot, but the defending Western Division champions, Prairie View A&M. Who do we got in this game?
Well, I think Prairie View playing at home, I think they're going to win it. I'm going with Prairie View, PV.
Really?
That's a toss-up. I'll go with Prairie View by 3.
Yeah. Nobody's talking about, this whole off season, we talked about all these teams in the West, and Prairie View's name rarely came up. And they've won 2 of the last 3 Western Division titles. First year coach at Texas Southern there, trying to get it going. I got Prairie View. By 2 scores.
14. Edwin says PV wins, and they take care of the victory by the second quarter. So we're saying a blowout. Prairie View, tough. Yeah, no one talks about defending Western Division champions. But, Texas Southern, I just got a feeling they're going to play tough for a while. I got Prairie View winning it, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I could be wrong. I'm wrong sometimes, believe it or not. Believe it or not. But I got Prairie View in that game as well. BCU, Bethune-Cookman playing up. There we go, another game. Brought to you by Willa Brown, hard liner AG Willa Brown, Bethune-Cookman at South Florida. What's the goal for BCU in this game, guys?
Come out with the check and stay healthy.
That's it.
That's the goal
right there. That's it.
That's the goal.
Now, let me say this. I'm hearing a lot of improvement about Bethune-Cookman. Don't sleep on them, and they're going to be tough. Now, let me say this. These games playing up, it's not indicative of how the season will go. The rest of the way, for those teams, it is what it is playing up. I'm thanking God the Columbia Blue and Gold is not playing up, first 2 weeks of the season. But with that being said, Cedric says PV, boy, by 21, man, everybody, wow, my goodness, everybody thinks it's going to be a blowout. Okay, we'll see. We're talking about Prairie View and Texas Southern, but Bethune-Cookman in South Florida, 85 scholarships. You've heard it before, 63 scholarships. No matter what math you look at, 63 can go into 85 with a remainder from a math equation. So Bethune-Cookman, their goals to me is to keep it close, play the best that you can play, get the check, and then come out, positive and looking forward to game 2. And I got to look for game 2. Maybe they're playing up as well. I'm not sure. But I like South Florida. I think the panel all agree South Florida will win. Alabama and them at Auburn. See what I just said about Bethune-Cookman in South Florida. But intriguing, Coach Pettaway, Alabama A&M won financial reward. But you want to go in, Coach Maynard, and I think he's going to at least throw some wrinkles in there. And I think I will say this, they will score more than 7 points. How about that?
Wow. Yep. Well, I hope they do. That's why I'm down here to watch the Bulldogs and make sure that we win the halftime contest. And get that check, and hopefully we don't get into these guys hurt. But before the season even started, I got us being after 3 games we'll be 1-3. I'm sorry, after 3 games we'll be 2-1 after 3 games.
And Coach Pettaway, we have receipts. You said 8-3, and guess what? If that happens, Coach Pettaway, you can sell property on the moon because nobody would have believed that. And man, if that 8-3, that would be a great accomplishment. 24-21, BCU. Adrian, Adrian, and I love Adrian to death. Wait a minute, 20. I'll remember that. If that happens, we'll know where we heard that from.
Yeah.
You were going to say something, Charles?
I said Adrian's just waking up. If he if he had that score 24-21 Bethune, that's be a tough one. I wonder, is this Auburn game brought to you by Wheeler Brown?
I would hope Wheeler would get maybe 50,000 more. Can I get 35? Can I get 25 more? 10,000 more.
At least. Go for it anyway.
I have faith in you, Wheeler. I have faith. You had me scared there for a minute.
The only thing they can say is, no, this is what we're offering. And, if you don't want it, and somebody else will, that sort of thing. And we keep it moving from there.
Yep. The good thing about week 1, there will be a week 2.
Track team needs shoes, Carlos. Track team needs shoes. Tennis team needs rackets. Baseball team needs gloves. Come on now, the list goes on and on. I got to try to find a way to get it done.
And ultimately, that is the main thing. Get it done.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we agree, Auburn. It's going to be tough for Alabama A&M, but Auburn gets the victory. Now we get into some intriguing games. We got one more playoff game. Grambling State at Louisiana. Bringing in a new coach, he's not a stranger to the state of Louisiana. Tremendous recruiter. Now we had Aussie Clark, and I thought about Aussie. The Grambling State Radio Network said a couple of weeks ago that Grambling State is replenishing their offensive line and their defensive line. Louisiana's come off some success. I think it's, once again, when you're playing up, it's tough. The goal for Grambling State is don't lose by 30 or 40 points. Get in and get out, but then it shows you what you need to work on going into game 2. I got Louisiana winning this game, and some people believe it's going to be close. Who are those people? I want to know. It may be closer than what we think, but I don't think it'll be a 7 or 10 point or 13-point game.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Right. So I'm with Louisiana too. I don't think Grambling's going to be able to go in there and come out.
Well, I want to make a correction. I thought Grambling was playing Tuskegee today. They're playing at Louisiana. I should have known that. You got new coach there, obviously, and Mickey Joseph, who was at Alcorn for a period of time. You got Dooley on that staff. You got Jason Rollins on that staff. It's going to be a tough one, even though it's in-state. Weather might be a factor. Grambling's my alma mater, but this is going to be a tough one going down to ULL.
Uh-oh. Pat Riley's text me. He says he bet you. I bet you the first play is going to be a bubble screen for Grambling State. I wonder why he said that. Uh-oh. A lightning bolt is coming down. I must confess that's usually the first play with a Coach Dooley-led team on offense with the bubble screen. Oh, my goodness. I guess I just can't be nice all the time.
Carlos, you should talk to my buddy Emmanuel Barnes about that bubble screen.
Well,
that bubble screen ever yield you much of anything? He ain't a fan of those bubble screens.
I'm not either, Charles, and I pray that the Southern's first play is not, if it's a pass, a bubble screen. I don't think it will be, but north and south is the best way, Coach Pettaway.
Oh yes,
not east and west.
Yep.
Dooley might open it up, Carlos. The pressure's off. He's off that Carlos Brown contract now, and so you might see a brand new Dooley out there, looking for that next head coaching job. He needs to open it up.
Tell you what, if he does open it up, I think it's going to make some Southern fans even more pissed off. But anyway, Southern at McNeese. Southern 3-0. They've played 3 times. McNeese has won all 3, albeit the last time they played in Mumford Stadium, Southern's up at halftime, and they lose it. I think Southern is due. Defensively, they're going to be very strong. Game 1. You see a lot of teams cramping up, excited, the emotions. But after the emotions lay down, then it's going to be about execution and who can impose their will. Whose game plan will be the game plan that works out the best. I like Southern University to break this losing streak against McNeese. If there's not a time, this is the time. McNeese have gone on hard times, but guess what? I still look at McNeese as a worthy opponent. They're playing their home opener. Their last home opener win came against a Southern University football team, 34-28, when Coach Dawson Odoms was the head coach. I like Southern University in this ball game, and I think they're going to rely on their defense, and I think the offense is going to surprise some people. They're going to be efficient, and I think they're going to have a couple of big plays. But I like Southern University. The panel says what? I know it's McNeese coming on. Go ahead. I know.
I with McNeese being at home, I'm gonna have to go with the home team. I think it's gonna be close though, but I'm gonna have to go with the home team.
Miller?
I like Southern by 3 with Charles, this boy, kicking the game winner.
Wow.
Putting some salt in the wound and bringing it on in. But I think Coach has got the kids, has done the right things in terms of preseason camp, that sort of thing. Seems like he should have a good game plan in place. And you're talking about almost two evenly matched teams, I think. So, who wants it? Who wants it the baddest?
Boy, to be poetic justice in a way, if they win by 3, I'll take a 3-point victory. Hell, I'll take a 20-point victory. I want to see the tight ends. We've been talking about the gumbo offense, different ingredients. I think the tight ends will shine one-on-one. Remember the name, Ethan Howard, Dupree Fuller. Get a chance to showcase himself in the tight. Where's the tight end been in the offense? When the offensive guru. Oh, come on, Carlos, quit taking shots. Get over it. Charles, what do you like?
I'm pulling for Southern University. When we play in these games, we got McNeese in a few weeks. I hope the Jaguars loosen them up for us when we go down there in a few weeks. But I am going to say this, though. I know moral victories in sports today don't mean a whole lot, but McNeese, they lost to Carlos. That was a moral victory for them. They probably should have got blown off the field, but the fact that they made it a game and had a shot, I think they feel good coming back at home. Southern got to be ready to play. And if Southern can make the first statement or two, I think they'll win the game. But if McNeese gets a full head of steam, it's going to be tough for the Jaguars. But I'm pulling for Southern. I'm pulling for the Jaguars to get it done. My money's on Southern tonight.
Okay, because I was going to say, you said pulling, but you clarified it. Your prediction is Southern. Secret weapon, 3 head coaches on the staff, one being Fred McNair. He got it done twice against McNeese.
Yeah.
So that's a valuable resource.
Yes.
Sunday, September the 1st, Alabama State, North Carolina Central. Alabama State picked to win it in the East. Andrew Body, everybody's talking about now a new team. This team, Alabama State, along with Alcorn, picked to get to be in a SWAC championship football game. Alabama State, defensively always strong, lost some pieces. Offensively, they look to be better. However, North Carolina Central, physical football team, and I like North Carolina Central. I'm pulling for Alabama State, but I think North Carolina Central gets it done. They're tough and they're nasty, and I think you'll see that. And we saw that with Norfolk State. The MEAC is just physical. Must be that old line material, that old line mentality, Wheeler. I like North Carolina Central.
Yeah, I'm going Bama State. I think their defense will be the difference in the game, and I think Alabama State will be aggressive on the defensive end. So I'm going with Bama State.
Being an old Aggie, I always root against North Carolina Central, but I'm gonna go with Central. Yeah, by 7. I don't believe in Alabama State yet. They got to run off a few W's for me to kind of come over to the other side.
You've been consistent.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. History tells me that, not to go across that bridge yet. So I'm going to wait a little bit, probably around game 3 or 4, to see where they are before I can cross over to the other side.
100%. I agree 100%. I love Dr. Cable, the AD there. I'm pulling for him. He's an Alcornite. But Alabama State football got to show me. You got Body at quarterback. They didn't win. To me, they didn't win the big games last year. Can they get over the hump? And then Trey Oliver's a little steamy too, Carlos. When he talks about the MEAC and the lack of respect they're getting and the attention that the SWACs are getting, he talked about that this summer. So I think this is an opportunity for North Carolina Central to show what they got. I'm going with Central, even though I would love to see Alabama State get it done. I think Central's going to win this game.
Well, I'm looking at the comments. They're very good. I love our chat room. You guys know what they're talking about. They give their opinions and their facts. As you see it scrolling across the screen there, this is a show-me game for Alabama State. I'm kind of like and Will has been consistent. He's always talked about Alabama State. This would do a world of good for Alabama State if they can get it. But I just think when I look at the MEAC, you wonder, why do they have the lead in the Celebration Bowl and the MEAC SWAC town? By the way, Southern University with 3 wins. I got to get that in now, along with South Carolina State. But it's that physical brand of football. And I think it's going to be the showcase for North Carolina Central as well. I think they'll rely on that. And if Alabama State can get it done, it'll go a long way in proving Alabama State has crossed over. We got about 3 minutes left because we started about 2 minutes after 11 o'clock. My quick commentary, we've had a couple of high school athletes died in preparation for their season. So let's remember, it's not about who's the strongest, who's the fittest in a way, but for those 17, 16, 17, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, and that's a tragedy that a young life has ended doing the things that one of the things that they love to do, and so we're mindful of that. Also, I will continue to say, get out and make your voice heard. Get out and vote, because we're in perilous times if we're not careful. And I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. Coach Pettaway, Will, and Charles, we got the young ones coming behind us. We're heading to the other side. So we want to make sure that they have all the right information and resources, but go out and vote. Now, guys, if you can have a quick commentary about anything, now is your time to do it.
Well, I'm looking forward to the games this week, particularly that Alabama State game, and let the fun begin.
Charles?
2 things. Oh, go ahead, Charles.
Last week I got a chance to watch some of the games. One of the games was the FCS Kickoff Classic involving Southeast Missouri State, I think North Alabama, and that got me thinking, what's it going to take to get a SWAC team in there? I did some digging, did some research. It's a week 0 game, and I talked to the SWAC office. You can only have 1 conference team in a week 0 game. So that means that we'll never be in that FCS Kickoff Classic. It's in Montgomery, so I'm thinking, why not? You got a bunch of SWAC teams in that footprint, but it won't happen. But it's just, I'd like to see that matchup, because we talk about FCS versus FCS, SWAC versus FCS. We'd love to see it, but it won't happen.
Got the SWAC big challenge.
2 things quickly. I think there's some talk of making it mandatory for youth football to wear those caps on their helmets. Yeah. I think that's necessary. That's something that should be implemented as quickly as possible. And nothing but good can come out of that right there. Second thing, I got my 50th high school reunion tonight.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
50 years. And,
congratulations.
Looking forward to see some folks that I haven't seen probably in about 50 years, but kind of throws you back a little bit and kind of wonder where the time has gone by. And, Carlos, you was talking about all of us being on the other side, and I'm truly on the other side, no doubt about that.
Well, that's all right.
It's just something to reflect on, and just something that kind of throws you back a little bit.
Well, you have a good time, enjoy yourself, and talk and move a little bit. The electric slide, the 2-step. You do it all, Willa, and have fun. And it'll be great to see people that you have probably seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Cherish the moment.
Definitely.
Keys to victory quickly for Southern. Offensively, got to run the football and be effective. Also, tight ends have to be implemented into this offense. We're looking to see that. Defensively, keep a spy on McDowell. Make him beat you throwing the football. And if he does, you'll live the results. But come after them, and let's have that dog day defense back. Defense, Jags. Defense, Charles. A lot of defense, Jags. And we'll have the results next week. Want to thank Brian Fulford, producer of today's show, everyone in the chat room, all of our guests, Eric Randall. Until next time at 11 a.m. Central, for another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until next time, as always, peace and God bless.